Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to the Leaky Waders YouTube channel. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you my DIY saddle setup. I got a couple comments asking what setup I'm using, so I figured I'd make a video just to show you how I hunt out of my saddle. I think it's a really good, cheap, good value, not cheap, good value setup that's safe, pretty light, pretty portable, and you don't really need a whole lot of fancy bells and whistles for it. It's kind of just like a very simple setup. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be telling you what you need for this setup, what knots you need to know, how to actually set it up. I'll be telling you the price of everything. And the last thing I'll be telling you is where you can find all this stuff. All right, so I figured the first thing I would tell you would just be the actual saddle that I'm using. The actual saddle that I'm using is a trophy line saddle. This is their older model. Their newer models have a couple of things that I really wish this one had, and I'm going to be modifying this one to actually have soon. The reason I chose this one at the time, every other saddle was sold out that I wanted, and this was honestly the cheapest one that I could find. I don't really have a preference of a saddle. I've used it for 2 years, shot a couple deer out of it. It's good. There are some things that I wish I would change, which I would tell you. Right off the bat, the first thing that I would change would be this metal buckle. This metal buckle is pretty noisy. You don't want this metal buckle tight because all this does is it cinches down on your hips, which I really don't like. One other thing that I wish I would change about this saddle is if you look here on your leg straps, you have all this extra room. And a problem that I find with this saddle is that it rides up super, super high. So I'm constantly loosening this, moving it down, tightening it back up so I can keep it down. This saddle rides up a lot, and I attribute that to these really loose leg holes that allow it to slide up. I'm going to be cutting these soon and then putting in buckle like this that I'll be able to actually tighten these up to help keep the saddle down, because when this rides up it just cinches on your hips and it hurts like crazy and it's just not comfortable. And I've done a couple all-day sits, and by the end of the day I'm in a lot of pain. What you get with this saddle, besides just the actual saddle, you kind of get like a side pouch, and you get a nice little zipper pouch on the side. As far as what I use these for, my bow line, my aider, and my linesman rope go in the side pouch. As the other side pouch, this is just going to be my tree tether. What you're going to need for this setup is you're going to need your tree saddle. Doesn't matter what tree saddle you have. This is just the trophy line one. That's the one I have. You're going to need some form of step. These are the River's Edge Bigfoot grip. The reason why, again, I chose these is because they are cheap and affordable, and they have good value, and they're strong. Downsides of these is that they kind of do weigh a lot, and they also are really, really clunky because they are just straight metal, so you have to be really quiet when you're setting them up. Another downside of these is that they are long, so you do get caught if you're trying to sneak into a place that does catch up on a lot. But I mean, other than that, like these things, they get the job done. That's all I really care about. The third thing you're gonna need is some rope. This is 5,000 or 6,000 pound strength rope for your lineman's belt and your tree tether. With this, you're gonna need two 20-foot sections of rope for what I'm doing. You can modify this as much as you want. I'm just doing two 20-foot sections. That's what I've done, and that's what I like to do. And the last thing you're going to need is you're going to need two sections of 1,000-pound breaking strength rope. The knots you're going to need to know on how to actually make your setup. So if you're trying to copy exactly what I have, there's two knots you need to know how to do. There's the prusik knot, which you need to know how to do, and then there's something that I call a figure 8 knot. Don't know if that's a technical term for it. That's just what I call it. So the first knot you're going to need to know how to tie is a prusik knot. This is going to be the knot that controls you going up and down on the tree, tightening and loosening your lineman's belt, tightening and loosening your tree tether. Super simple knot. You just take your 4-foot section of 1,000-pound rope, and you're going to put that on your 5,000-pound breaking rope, and all you're going to do, put it underneath just like this, spread it out, all right? And all you do is you take the end that you tied off, you're just going to loop it through 3 times. You just go through, loop it once, go through twice, and you go through one more time, loop it through 3 times. And all you do is you just pull that. As you're doing this, you got to kind of keep your knots organized. What will tend to happen is they'll try and overlap each other. You just got to keep them organized and kind of away from each other. Take the original loop that you put through on the backside, pull it through right here, and once it's nice and snug, basically what's going to happen is this rope is going to be freely able to slide down when you're holding it. The second you go to pull it, it's not going to go anywhere. All right, so the second knot you're going to need to know how to tie is a figure 8 knot. It is not a difficult knot to tie at all, and you tie it just like it sounds. So you have your rope. All you're going to be doing is folding it over the top, reach around, bring it through, loop it around the backside, you bring it back down, and once you pull it tight, you'll kind of get something that looks like this. Now there's going to be 2 variations of this knot that I'm going to be using on my saddle, so I'm going to go over what the first one is now. For the variation that I'm going to have you do, you're going to need to take the rope, put it back over itself. Make sure you give yourself plenty of room to do this. You might have to cut some excess, all right? But you're going to have a tag on it, basically. Same thing. You're going to put it over the top, just like that, bring it around the backside, and put it through. And then when you pull it, you're going to have something that looks like this, which is exactly on my setup. You can see I have the same exact knot just right here. Now, what you're going to have to do in order to get this knot like this, where it actually is around, because how am I going to get this on here? You're going to have to keep this knot loose, and you're going to pull this side back through itself until you get basically to this stage right here. Once you get to this stage, you can put it back through the saddle, and you just follow where you came from. Came over the top just like this, came up following this line, go in right through here, come back one more time just like that, and then you can clean it up as you wish. But those are basically the 2 knots you're going to need to do. So far you've seen what you've needed for the saddle. You know the 2 knots, you know how to tie. Now the last thing you're going to need to do is, okay, how do you put those together and actually use it on your saddle setup? I told you in the beginning that you're going to need 2 sections, 20 feet of this 5,000 to 6,000 pound breaking strength rope. What these 2 ropes are going to be, one is going to be your lineman's rope, which is the one that I showed you attaching to my saddle. The next one is going to be your actual tree tether. Now, you know the variation of the figure 8 knot right here. First one is actually attached to your saddle. What this one is for, this one you just tie back on itself. You don't have to feed it through anything. This is going to be your tree tether, and all you need to do for it to use it as your tree tether, you put it around through that hole, grab the rope, pull the rest of the rope through it, put it where you need it, pull it tight, and that is not going anywhere. Those are really all the ropes and knots that you're going to need to know how to tie. So for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to be setting up my climbing sticks, all right? But you could assume when I'm setting this up, I'm using my climbing stick. Showed you what gear you needed. I showed you what knots you need to tie. Basically showed you how to set it up. Now, what I'm going to be doing next is showing you actually how to implement it and use it. Let's say I get to the tree. I pick the tree that I'm going to climb. So what I'm going to be doing first is just so I like being attached all the way up the tree. So I like taking out my lineman's rope. So I got my lineman's rope right in my side pouch. And all you got to do, put it around the tree. Now this is when using the figure 8 knot comes into play, because what I'm going to be doing is tying a figure 8 knot to my other loop over here. I do the same thing. Go over the top, bring it around the bottom, then put it through the hole, pull it tight. There's my figure 8 knot. This thing not going anywhere at all. I am stuck. It is not going to slip till I loosen it a little bit, shift it up, shift it down. My linesman rope, that is going to be my next thing that I'm going to be using. Once I get up to the tree and I'm at a height that I want to hunt, that's when I'll probably tighten this up to get me nice and close to the tree so I can reach pretty high up, right? That's when I come over to this side of my pouch. I'm going to grab my linesman's rope. That's where I have that modified figure 8 knot. What I'm going to be doing is put that around. I like putting it at about eye level. That goes through, finish pulling the rest of the rope through, pinch it off. Now I have Prusik knot. You can see here I had a Prusik knot here, and I got a Prusik knot here. I said you're gonna need 2 of those. Here's my bridge. I do the same figure 8 knot on the bridge, over the top, around the back side, pull it through, cinch it down. So if I wanted to, I can get this thing way up here. I always like cinching it way down. I can loosen this up. I'm good now. I'm locked in, not going anywhere from this rope. This has never slipped on me once. I've never felt unsafe in the saddle, but something I always do, because I carry a lot of extra rope with me, because sometimes if I'm climbing a gnarly tree and I've got my steps all scattered out all over the place, that's why I like having the extra rope, because then I can use this to help my descent or help my ascent up the tree. So usually what I do with my extra rope is on my tree tether, because that's where most of my weight is I'm going to tie another figure 8 knot through this bottom loop right here, and then this is going to be basically my fail safe. This line right here, this 1,000 pound breaking line, were to break, this would be here to catch me. And then basically what I do is I just take my extra, put it here, get it all nice and neat and out of the way. I'm going to stick that in my back pouch. Something you might have picked up on by now is that I don't have an actual platform that I stand on. What I do is I literally just stand on the top platform of my step, and that's good enough for me. I thought about getting a platform, but honestly, like, it's just another thing to carry, and I've sat all day just standing on these 2 little things. It's up to your preference. You can modify this as much as you want to what fits your needs. This works for me. I don't need a platform. Now that you've seen my saddle, you've seen my thoughts on it, you've seen what knots you need to tie, you saw how to actually tie those knots and rig it up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go inside. I'll show you the prices and how to find everything. So here we go. Inside, and I just kind of wanted to go over kind of the 4 different things that I showed you and where you can find them online. So I mean, basically you can find anything on Amazon nowadays. First thing that I had was the River's Edge climbing sticks. I bought the 3-pack. I only use 2 now because I have 2 steps and an 8er. But if I'm just showing you the basics of what you need, you can get out there and get in the woods with easily just buying 2 singles, or you can get the triple, up to you. But since I bought the triple, I figured that would be the price that I gave you. They have really increased the price of these from when I got them. When I got them, they were, I think, around like 60 something dollars. Now they're 88. All right, so the next thing that you're gonna need is about 50 feet of this 3/8 inch rigging rope. I got the 100-foot section, but you can get 50 feet because you'll only really need about 20 feet for each section. You can honestly trim it down from that. I just choose to have 20 feet for my lineman's rope and my tree tether, but 50 feet puts you out about 20 bucks, which is not bad. If you were looking at saddles, I am not sponsored by anybody. I just have the trophy line saddle. I'm not the biggest fan of my saddle. I think there's some things that could be done better that they have actually fixed in the new saddle. So this would basically be the newer version of my saddle, and the biggest thing that they have fixed is the adjustable leg straps. That is huge. They also made it come with things like carabiners. They also sent you the rigging for your bridge. They changed the bridge away from this big clunky piece of rope to a nice small piece of rope. Definitely would take a peek at this one. I think this would definitely be a better option than the one that I have. And the last thing you're gonna need is basically just that couple foot section of 1,000-pound breaking strength rope, which honestly, you don't even need to get on Amazon. You can honestly go to your general hardware store and find a rope that would be suitable for that for about 20 bucks. So those are just gonna be the 4 things you need to get, your basic saddle setup that I have used for a while, killed a couple deer out of it, and it's gonna get you in the woods. All right, everyone, so there you have it. There's my saddle setup. Prices have fluctuated a little bit on some of the things that I've bought since I've personally bought them. For instance, 3-pack of those climbing sticks I got for about $62. For the climbing rope, that was about 20 bucks. Like you saw there, that was pretty much the same. My saddle, I will say, I'm not the biggest fan of my model of the Trophy Line saddle, but Trophy Line does have great customer service. I did call them, and I was able to, when I was asking questions, actually get a discount on the saddle. I actually ended up getting mine for about like $150 something. And then that last little bit rope that you need, that little 4-foot strand with 1,000-pound breaking strength, you can get that at any hardware store for less than 20 bucks. So all said and done, you can get in the woods with a decent, safe saddle setup for about 250 bucks. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you thought it was informative. If you liked the video, please do me a solid and leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this one, please hit that subscribe button. I got a lot of hunting videos coming to the channel recently, so please stay tuned for those, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.